Hey, welcome to the Runaways podcast. My name is Cody. We are back for another week. Just three of us this time. I think Dan is like flying back from some vacation. Lucas is super busy trying to get the team ready for Worlds because since we started that prep not too long ago. So we get to do a three-person cast, which I think from memory is most people's favorite cast is when there's only three of us. So we'll see how this one goes. But there is not been a ton of news as far as FAB goes, but I feel like I've been doing a ton of FAB related stuff looking forward to. So we're going to talk a little bit about what to look forward to in Proquest season with things LLing, because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. And I think some of the things that could LL are a little scary or people aren't aware of. But before we get into that, Noah, I know you have like an AG tournament coming up soon, right? I think that's the next thing you've been prepping for. But how is playing KO again? I think you've been doing a little bit of that, and how's your week been?
Yeah. As much as I have a passion for some of the cards in the deck, testing Brute is just completely awful. It's like one of the worst experiences on the planet. Like to do testing of Brute. Playing it in the real tournaments is fun because you're like, okay, I'm going to take the lines that like min-max my ability to win the game. But when you're doing testing, a lot of the time it's like, okay, based on this outcome of a random draw discard, of a scabs roll, of just some specific like mid-turn RNG, I call it, circumstance lining up, the entire outcome of the game is different. And it kind of feels like a lot of your testing is, a bit invalidated. So I like playing KO. I like a lot of the cards. I love the new upgrades. It's just, being honest, not been the most fun of uh, motivating me to get in the lab and test the deck when a lot of the matchups are very dependent on just kind of how the mid-turn sequences go.
Yeah, I guess you'd kind of need like infinitely more results to actually get conclusions from playing Brute because of the inherent randomness. I think is how that works. Or
Yeah.
you have to like manually set up all of the situations you want to be in, which is also kind of a pain.
I remember Kevin Murphy made a video a long time ago talking about library and like doing the math of like precisely what turn you have to draw the library, and he like ran a simulation that did like millions of runs. So maybe we can contract this out to him. He'll do the simulation for how good Beast Within is, like how often do you have to draw it and then like resolve it? Should you play 2, 3? Should you play sea legs as well? There's just like
I,
so many of these kind of questions that it's hard to answer in like a reasonable amount of games you play yourself.
I have a better idea.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by
Oh,
FabBlazing.com, the only website that has the data. It has saved me hundreds of hours and could save you hundreds of hours of brute testing because you can actually go in, leverage everyone else's matchups, and figure out what actually works in said matchups. That's probably my favorite part. But this is an invaluable tool for testing or just settling arguments with friends. If you want the power of data, visit FabBlazing.com. Link is below.
yeah.
We're
I was actually
3 minutes in
referencing
and
this.
we're already plug awaying.
No,
Perfect.
but it's good. I was actually going to get into this. That's been like what I've done is actually earlier today just go through Fab Blazing and look at all the cards that I haven't even tried yet and like see if any of those have high win rates. Looking at like, for example, in the Verdance matchup, Yellow Bear Fangs is killing it for like no reason, right? It's not like a card I'd considered of like, oh, maybe this is going to be the all star that saves my Verdance matchup. So yeah, definitely some interesting insights there.
Sweet. And Fino, you also have AGE. You didn't mention prepping at all. I know you guys are like prepping against each other. You're like can't let each other know what's actually going to happen. Someone's going to show up with a deck no one expects. It's a little weird because you like know who you're playing ahead of time and you know your side selection, so you can like pick a deck based on that that information. I think it's kind of interesting. But how Fino, how's your week been?
And you also have the added level of like both of us are like high up on the seating where we're going to get to pick, play, draw basically the entire tournament, unless I think your seat too, right? So it'd literally be if you face
I'm
me would be
C3,
the
but
only scenario.
I
Okay,
appreciate
I
you
thought
thinking
you're
I'm better
nicer.
than I am.
So like that also adds a level of like, man, does that change deck decision of like, what if you sat down and you got to pick, play, draw every single game? Would that like change the deck you pick? Would that change how you construct the deck? Because now you could go ignorant mode of build the deck in a weird way. But yeah, I've just been prepping gravy for PQ season, which it's funny, the whole conversation about like fake testing and like the variants and the draws and everything. You also have that a bit in Gravy, but I don't have that same feeling when I'm playing Gravy necessarily. Probably because you have so much card filtering and so much redundancy in the deck, and it's much easier like mapping out game plans in that deck than it is in KO, where you're just like, I'm just pushing numbers basically. Like there's not this level of sandbagging allies or resources for later. And it's not a deck that's built around like engine pieces and everything, so you don't like have that aspect to it. But it's weird. It's like I'm also kind of experiencing a similar thing there. That's all.
I don't know. When I'm playing Gravy, the only feeling I have is frustration. I'm like, why don't you work? Why can't I do what I want? And then, oh, I won the game. Like you still you win, but the entire time is like torture because like the deck just doesn't function. It doesn't do anything you want it to do.
Yeah, my entire thing right now of like what I'm working on with the deck is just trying to build it in such a way that it functions as much as possible. Because it feels like any game that the deck does what it's supposed to do, you just win. So it's like, how do I forego anything else that matters and just make sure that the deck functions?
Yeah. I don't know. It scares me. It scares me if aggro comes back, but we can talk about that moving into the next form. But I'm just Gravy's just weird. It feels awful to play, and then you win the game still. Too often, but it's one of the worst feeling decks I've played in a very long time.
Felt great when we had Tipple.
It felt great when Tipple existed.
When you keep saying worse, you just mean like you feel priced into going for lines with risk, or what is like bad about
like
it?
The deck just does not function. It's you're like drawing up turns and you're like, it's been 5 turns, I have no gold. Like I hope how do I get an ally in my grave? I have one. I need another ally in my grave for this turn to function. You're just sitting there every turn. You start the turn of, how can I physically play the cards that I've drawn? Like, how can I actually resolve any of the cards in my deck? And it is like very frustrating to play because it feels terrible.
You just like have some games where you just do nothing for a while. But in my experience, it's like once you start doing things, it kind of is like a self-perpetuating motion thing of it just keeps going. Like, okay, now that I've started to have some gold and some card filtering, that's digging me towards more gold generation, and it's just going now, and I'm not going to brick anymore.
Yeah, I think we were playing some games like you, me, and Lucas yesterday. And it was just like turn 5, we've never made a gold. we've never made a gold. We put like one ally in the grave, but we're still kind of in it. Like that's what I mean by feels awful.
Okay.
So maybe some of that can be.
And then when that doesn't happen, you
but...
just win.
Correct. Yeah. So sometimes you just you open like blue Tipple and you're like, I remember you. I remember what it was like to play the game.
Oh, I'm winning this game.
Essentially how it works. I have been doing some LL prep still for Chain. I've been looking at some Proquest stuff, and I was looking at the heroes, and this is going to go into our main topic here. I was looking at the heroes, and we've mentioned it a little bit internally, and I've seen a couple people mention it, but like the stuff that might LL from Proquest is like kind of wild. And this got me thinking about it even more because, Fino, you brought this up like a day or two ago, and you're like, you know what? Prism could LL. And I'm like, there's no way. And then I look and I'm like, she's at 1.5 multiplier.
When did this happen that she's at like 700 points?
Yeah, she's like 700 points and 1.5 multiplier. You're like, oh, she might actually rotate out. And I've heard nobody mention that it's even possible that Prism is gone.
My headcanon is she's just never been good too.
Yeah.
This happened. Like, I know that's not true, but that's my headcanon. I choose to believe it.
Okay, just to set the scene for people at home, there is going to be roughly 1,200 points that are up for grabs this ProQuest season coming out. And the points will fluctuate a little bit based on what wins because things have multipliers now. So that's a little bit different. So it could be less points if, like, for instance, Lyeth wins all the tournaments. There'd be less points technically awarded out. Not that that's going to happen. But then on the other hand, if a bunch of other heroes won, it could be 2x points or 1.5x points. So with that said, I'm going to go through some of the heroes that are close and talk about the numbers. But Kano is at 887 at a 1.5 multiplier. Everyone is hoping this hero goes away. It usually picks up some points on ProQuest season. It feels like it's been like, it legitimately feels like it's been like a year since we've played a ProQuest. But It does normally pick up points, so there is a chance that is gone, which is pretty surprising.
Everyone should
Fire,
just gentleman's agreement play Kano week 1. Just everyone should agree to do this.
the only
We'll push it
caveat,
out.
is that seeing as it's normally the same couple of people who win on Kano at all of the local areas, if they win one tournament, they're basically done playing for the season. So we actually might see less Kano points this season than we do in most of them. So that's why I'm a little hesitant on it going away.
But I don't know that that's actually true, because like, what if they don't win during a particular season beforehand? But now, if they play Kano every single week, surely they'll get there 1 week. So
Well,
like, if we just have every Brave soldier who's a Kano stan go to every single week of ProQuest until they win, then I think he'll cross the finish line.
but I felt
The
like the
question would
reason,
be, how often do they win? Like, do those, like that subsect of people, win multiple ProQuests every season?
You can't win multiple ProQuest a season with Kano, man. The deck's terrible.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened in most seasons. Was like
You think so?
like Peter won like 5 of them on Kano and gave him like a ton of points. Like,
Okay, I believe you.
pretty accurate to that has happened.
Okay.
Because you think about it, like most areas have like one Kano player.
Yeah.
Maybe there's still enough at the 1.5x, but I'm a little hesitant on that. Phi is at 805. Obviously, it's not going anywhere. Bravo is at 769. I don't think that's going anywhere. Though Bravo got upgrades, no one's going to play the hero. So I don't think that's going to matter. However, then we get to KO that everyone's excited about, or at least it's the easiest to identify, got the biggest power spikes from the new set. So people have been looking into it. It's also like pretty friendly to play and has, pretty obvious power turns. Its equipment suite is really strong. But KO is at 737. There's a chance that KO goes away, gets new cards, and just immediately gone. It is only at a normal multiplier, so it would need to win like a decent amount of the points itself. I feel like it's a little unlikely that KO goes away. And as a reminder, anything that goes away, this is affecting Worlds. This is essentially the ban list for Worlds. Like, this is the adjustment from it being two different type of formats.
When you say 1,200 points, that's just for PQs, right? There's still a couple callings. I think there's 2 CC ones.
Yeah, it's
and battle hardens.
Yeah, it's just a little light going into like October and whatnot, than it normally is, as far as stuff to play. But KO is there. I think next is Florian. Florian is at 720, and I think Florian's gone. I think it's very small chance that that Florian is playable at Worlds. What do you guys think?
I already thought that he wasn't playable at Worlds.
Nice. You think LSS is doing the players a service, making sure they don't register an unplayable hero and making him LL?
I'm still confused by the whole Florian uptick, but no need to beat that dead horse.
I think Florian uptick makes sense. Everyone's been waiting to play it. The deck is inherently strong and pretty simple to play, and its biggest bad matchup, it got kneecapped. So it's still a bad matchup, though. It's just like people aren't playing Gravy anymore.
And also, it just shouldn't, the Gravy just should, like, I guess we'll beat the dead horse. Like, Gravy just shouldn't be like down ticking as hard as it is. And then when we look at the meta, it's, Florian, KO with an uptick, which should be a good matchup for Gravy. Like, we're not seeing aggro necessarily in the projected meta as high as everyone thinks it should be, meaning Gravy should just come up and clean house. So it's like, if that's the case, then
I'm pretty sure that the public sentiment is that KO completely curb stomps Gravy, by the way.
That is the public sentiment, yeah.
Oh, unlucky.
What would you like to share with the class why you think that's not the case? I don't know. Educate the people. Because like 95% of FAB players would tell you that like it's unwinnable for Gravy.
I mean, Dromai was playable into KO back in the day, and that was when all the cards had Phantasm.
Okay.
Like, the matchup is very playable. You outvalue the KO a lot. It's very inefficient for them to actually clear any of your board. They just like sack so much damage doing that a lot of the time. Like, you put a Rigor Mortis in play and they're like, oh my god, I thought Chum was the only ally that was 10 value that you had. Now this idiot, oh my god, why did they print a ally worth 10 value? It's you juice them on so many turns as gravy, and you can lose, but you've got lots of power cards to keep up with them. You can out aggro them. And again, it's just the inefficiency of them clearing. And then if they start ignoring your board, you just get to go like ally swing, and just like block 3 cards, swing 12. Like, how do they keep up with that?
Okay. So basically you're saying that like the perceived top of being Verdance, Florian, Earth, whatever, Triumvirate, in addition to KO, Gravy kind of preys on both, so Gravy should just be what people play.
Which then means aggro should be moving way.
But what do you mean aggro? Like, I think when people think aggro, they think KO. So like clearly
Syndra?
aggro to you means something else.
Syndra should be good into Florian and Gravy, but people aren't perceiving Gravy to be at the top. I just think that it's a little odd, the play rates that we're seeing, and I'm assuming we're going to see things shift as we get some more events. Just like
I
people
don't
haven't
know.
figured out Gravy.
I don't know if they come back. Gravy's like infinitely harder to play now. Feels terrible. Like the deck just feels bad to play. Which I'm gonna keep harping on it because it's literally how it is. Like it just really feels bad to play.
We were talking about this last night. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is actually secretly a buff because it means I get to play Gravy longer.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, hey, I think it's still perfectly fine. I'll play this until it LLs, and if this means no one's going to play the deck anymore, he's not going to speed run to LL. Okay, I'll accept that. I'll accept everyone else is wrong.
I think the tier lists are right. It is top of the meta. It's just like feels bad to play. Deck is unforgiving to mistakes now. And so I think it's easier in people's testing that they're just like beating up the Gravies. And if you're playing Gravy and you're losing a bunch of games, you're not going to keep playing Gravy. You're just like, you're going to be like, I'm going to move on.
You also have like the Gravies that were doing well before were the best players. And if they moved off of Gravy onto something else, then it's going to be kind of showing weird play rates and statistics of the deck of like, well, now weaker players are the ones actually playing the deck. Therefore, it's going to perform worse. It becomes kind of a self-fulfilling thing.
Yeah, I'm curious. Actually, you spawned an idea. People in the comments can tell me if this is true or not. But I feel like the general FAB player base is kind of just in a holding pattern right now of waiting for like people to figure stuff out so that they can go like write down the answers to the homework questions of like, okay, here's how you play Gravy now, or here's how you play the new hero Goliath. Like they've been coming out with those new 0 to 80 articles on the LSS like homepage of like, here's how to play a hero. I feel like this is exactly what the player base is wanting for like everything. Like people just want to know like, okay, KO is a strong deck. Give me the KO 80 with the sideboard, right? Gravy is perceived to be strong from Pheno. Like, give me the 80 with sideboard because it's just a little bit murky to discern for like most people right now of not just what the best deck is, but like the precise 80 and how to sideboard and stuff like that.
If only there was a place to get the exact 80 for Gravy.
I was hooking you up, man.
If only we had a Patreon to go to.
No, but seriously though, I feel like that's kind of the case for every deck right now. Like those 0 to 80 articles are like, oh, I can't wait for the next one to come out to like learn more.
Anecdotally, this is the Patreon deck list that I posted that has popped off the most. Like I was not expecting to get as many people to sign up for like a random deck list as I got from the one from the AG, and I was like, holy shit, because like you said, everyone's like, what's the answer? And
yeah,
that's kind of what I've been seeing from like the community, people joining my thing, just people being like, what is
it? I do think a lot of that comes from the fact that a lot of the decks feel samey power level wise. Like you play a lot of the decks, like I can go down the list and I could be like KO, Florian, Prism, Victor, Kasai, Syndra, Dio, like all these decks feel like samey enough power level wise when you're playing them. Like some games feel good, some games feel bad, some matchups feel good, some matchups feel bad. That it's like, what do I want to spend my time and like all my effort on if all of these are viable decks? So it's like, someone just tell me what the deck is. Like someone just tells me, give me like 3 decks that I can play and I'll just play those. Cause like everything feels viable. And if everything feels viable, then you get like paralysis, on any decision making and also investment in your money. They're like, everyone's holding money. Like, okay, what do I buy? And they're like, everything kind of feels the same. I don't know where to put this money. And then you're like, I don't want to put it in Florian if it's going to go away, like, or KO if it's going to go away.
I mean, that's the thing that also has been kind of jumping out at me with Gravy. Like, I know I'm already Gravy pilled, so I'm trying to like be objective about it and not just like look at it through Gravy tinted glasses. But I think Gravy's one of the decks that's doing some of the most broken things in the game still. Like it is one of the decks that feels like I'm doing a lot of very unfair things still, and it doesn't feel that samey as everything else. Like if I get past the issues that come with the deck building now, and I get to engage with my core game plan, I'm just doing busted stuff. It feels like I'm playing a hero that's just not playing the same game as other people, which is one of the reasons that I've been so drawn to the deck beyond just it's fun to play. Plus, it's going to be around for Worlds. It's going to be around for a while. It's going to be around for even longer because no one wants to play it for some reason.
I think it also can determine on what's going on in your local meta. If you have a bunch of Syndra players, Dio players, and Acilio players like floating around, Gravy's terrible. Like, just terrible to bring it into that. Before, it was manageable. If you're just sitting down and every round is like Syndra, Dio, Acilio, Fang, etc., you're like, okay, I can win a decent amount of these. We can race. Let's go. But now you're definitely behind in all of those matchups due to the changes. And it's just like, if that's most of what you're playing against, Gravy isn't a good choice into that meta. Now, if you actually get to play against the KOs and the Victors and everything else, and then some aggro decks, then you're good. You're in a good spot. But like, it really depends on how many of those. And I think a lot of, to our point, we've had a lot of conversations of like, if the meta gets too aggro, then maybe Gravy isn't playable. But if it stays balanced, then Gravy's in a great spot.
So what you're saying is like, here, one sec. What you're saying, Cody, just to summarize, is basically there is no one deck fits all of like you have a flat kind of like how Slippy was in the last format. At least how I felt about it is that it was just super flat into everything. You kind of didn't really have to metagame specifically for a tournament. Maybe a few tech cards here and there, but for the most part, you were kind of just doing your thing and like making your opponents beat you. So yeah, I think that not really existing anymore this format has definitely caused some turmoil of people not knowing what deck to play if they don't have a good meta prediction. Your turn. You don't want to go anymore?
I lost my thought. Go ahead.
Oh no, dude! It's owned.
I was just gonna say that Gravy also just has like a really appealing matchup spread. Like you're saying, like, oh, if it's aggro, it's really bad for him. But at the end of the day, like, you can still play these games. Like, if it's all aggro, yeah, you don't want to do that. But if you have like a normal aggro spread, like you would expect at most events over the past, like not the outlier that was Amsterdam of the MST, where it was just literally all ignorant ships passing the night decks. Not that. But a normal FAB metagame where you're like, yeah, I'm expecting to see some aggro, some mid-range, some defensive, kind of a spread of everything. You smush anything that isn't aggro. It's just shake my hand and sign the match slip. Like, you just poop on those decks. And then against the aggro decks, you're behind, but it's still playable. That's a fantastic matchup spread. Like, nearly the buy against everything else, and like 35-40% against your bad matchups. That's fantastic. I would take that all day.
Yeah, I think that's good. It just can't be too much of the bad match. You have to have the matchups that you win exist. I think, to answer your question, I agree. There is no like, this is the best deck. And mainly it's because of Florian. Like, Florian is the reason that exists, is because you can't be mid-range if Florian is in the meta. Like, there is no more, you can't be more mid-range than the Florian. The Florian is the ultimate version of that deck. Like, it just like clowns on anyone else. Like, Ira's over here, I'm mid-range, and then you're like, no, you're not. Look at me. I am Florian. Like, you have all the answers. So for as long as Florian exists in the meta and people just decide to play the deck, no matter what's going on, like, there's a whole bunch of these I want to block decks sometimes, and you're just bad into Florian if you want to block sometimes. Unless it's all the time.
So do you think it's a wise strategy for players to choose a deck, like let's exclude the top two right now, or top three even, of Kano, Florian, and KO, of most likely candidates to LL? Do you think it's worth people's time trying to learn a deck during the season if they're planning on playing in Worlds? Trying to, use this season to get familiar with a deck that maybe opens up if one or more of those heroes rotates out?
Yeah, I mean, your whole area is not going to be Florian. So,
Yeah, like you maybe sack a little bit of value during the PQ season, but you get the experience of knowing how to play a deck when those heroes rotate out inevitably.
Yeah, like I mean, we can talk about how it's going to shift, I guess, if these things leave. But if that happens, it looks like a good aggro meta, I think. So then maybe something that's an aggro deck that plays in other aggro decks could be good, or just a defensive deck that plays in aggro decks, like Victor preying on these aggro decks could be good, or Prism or Dio, both decks notorious for
Mhm.
preying on other aggro decks. That could be really strong. Like I think Gravy Stonks probably go way down with these other decks leaving.
Hmm.
I think so. There's a couple things. I think you can get a lot of value out of that. I think you should probably pick up something like Verdance, if you're looking at a hero like that, because you can still beat some Florians now, so you're not sacking like infinite value into the Proquest season. But Verdance is probably going to be good when Florian goes away, because a good Florian basically just trounces on Verdance right now. But you're going to hear it both directions depending on who you talk to. That's one of those matches, and Verdance only has 231 points, so like it's a pretty good spot to be if that's one of the heroes I think you're looking at. I would be hesitant on Prism, especially because the cost of buy-in is sometimes pretty high on that deck, and it literally needs 200 points. It's at 1.5, so like literally 200 points and it's gone.
And surely we will get another Dromire Icelander before we get a third Prism, right?
Surely. I'm just like talking long term look, but I do think in that possible meta
I,
of KO,
I
Florian
think it
gone,
depends if
Prism's
KO
probably
sticks
good.
around.
Yeah,
I think if KO sticks around, then Prism's probably a bad pick.
yeah,
But if KO goes and Florian goes, that seems like it could be pretty good for her.
I agree.
Yeah, you could play 14 rounds of Prism. What's better than that?
The monkey paw curls.
I don't know if I'm willing to bring Prism to a tournament again after
Yeah.
Nats, but
Well, I definitely said 14 rounds on purpose because you're not playing 15, 16, or 17, but
yeah,
you can maintain too.
Whoa! I might just want to play those rounds because I want to play LL.
No, I'm saying that's what happens in top 8, man. You don't
yeah,
get a choice in the matter.
yeah. Also, I think I don't know how your summer or Super Slam stuff had gone, but the amount of Earth cards I got was infinitely high. I have like a whole nother playset now of Plow Unders and Fellings. I'm like, I don't have to switch them between decks anymore. Is essentially how that felt. So I think access to those to play like Florian or to play Verdance is like way higher, and people already want to play Florian. So I think the cost barrier to get into Florian just got dropped dramatically from Super Slam coming out. So I think that's pretty strong for a massive uptick in Florian going on. But I just wanted to bring up the fact that Prism could LL. Like, and I never even fathomed that until you mentioned it the other day. And I was like, there's no way. And then I looked at it, I was like, July was 2
everyone
years.
I kept talking to, everyone I was talking to about it kept being like, that's not happening. She's got like what, 200-300 points? And I was like, 700. And they're like, what? What?
And 1.5 multiplier. Cool. There's other ones on here that I was surprised. Like Victor has 500 points. I was like, when did Victor get 500 points?
Yeah.
It ain't much, but it's honest work.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else in?
I feel like we don't got shit to talk about today. I have a topic that just came to mind.
Sure, go for
it. Okay. What do you guys think about clashing? It was like introduced back in Heavy Hitters, and now we saw like a Victor style clash deck where the clash cards were kind of gated by the fact that they were primarily non-attacks. Like the really strong ones were cards that would not non-attacks in the literal sense, but not cards that win clashes themselves. And then we saw in Super Slam a bunch of clashes came out that are also capable of winning clashes themselves, being like decently high powered attacks. And also like the new benefit of clashing where you can like bottom your clash kind of Victor style after the clash already happens. Do you guys think this is net positive, or they should stop designing this stuff and it's cringe? You're muted, Fina, by the way.
Yeah.
Zoom style.
No one can hear.
Sorry. I don't mind it. I just don't like the clash cards that they printed recently that like discard a card. I feel like those are like a little cringe to play against. I don't like the face purg. I have to play around all game, but it's not even on board.
Test of Iron.
But
Rip.
yeah.
Okay.
And also the one that I talked about for the spoiler video. The truth or lies.
Yeah.
Oh, truth or trickery, yeah. Okay, so you think that the design of clashes being like just sometimes +1 value is much healthier than like the non-attack super high roll kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't like it being worth like a full card where it's just like a 0 for 7 or more on defense. Like I thought is it test of strength that's the make a gold?
Correct, yep.
I thought that was like already like a little pushed for that kind of thing, but only Victor can take advantage of that. It's like, okay, people are allowed to get good cards. Like you can have a power card. But then now like every Guardian has access to the other one. So it's like, okay, that's kind of annoying. I don't think the clash being on like attacks really is as much of an issue to me. I don't care as much about that. I'm like, whatever. Because they're just like not even that exciting cards to cast. They're like kind of whatever.
Well, I think the idea is that you're putting cards in your deck that have basically no downside. Like when we look at in the past, let's take a look at the clash cards that are playable in Brute. So this would be like in Tough Nut, for example, you also get some revered ones. So this would be like Vigorous Smash Up, Toughness Smash Up, maybe just Tough Smash Up, something like this. The ones that clash for either a Vigor token or a Toughness token. When you look at in
Agility
the past
and
of
might.
card, what's up?
You also have agility and might.
Yeah, those are from prior sets. I was saying like let's just look at this set for now.
Sure.
Yeah, so in this set, because they're 3-cost cards, they still function at a normal flesh and blood rate. If you look at the ones in the past, the agility and mighty and the vigor one of past, they were all 2-cost cards. So like unless you had some way of using the resource, they were like a little bit more difficult to use. But now they've increased the ceiling of these cards in that they play on rate with how like actual games of flesh and blood go, and they give you the ability to opt. And normally, what I was trying to say before is that when you have a card that's worth more than 3 on defense, it usually has some meaningful drawback. Like the block cards are block cards, right? It's a red card that you can't arsenal. You have to block with it. Nothing else you can do. But now we're getting cards that are worth 4 value at just a baseline, right? Like the toughness one, it's basically always going to be 4 value, right? You're getting 1 more value on the back end as something you can play rainbow of in a deck. I know it's not that like high impact and flashy now because Tough Nut is not taking over the meta at this point, but just like the concept is, I feel a little bit of a slippery slope where they can just design all these cards worth 4 on defense that have no downsides that other cards in the past worth 4 on defense had.
Well, it's there has been power creep over time in the game. Like decks got better at attacking, then decks got better at blocking, then decks got better at attacking again. And now we're going back into the cycle of decks need to get better at blocking a little bit to kind of keep up with that. Everyone's been getting more armor over time, meaning decks have to get better at punching over armor. I think that's just normal with the game kind of getting older, and decks just need to get more powerful, more efficient. I think that's just gonna happen with a game like this where everything is always legal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like this set was just kind of an evolution point of what you were saying too with confidence tokens, right? Like before we had different keywords of evasion. Now because there's power creep in the armor suite, now we got we got to power creep the ability to fridge with your armor. So yeah, this is just kind of in Super Slam in general. I'm having more thoughts reflecting back on the set of the clash mechanics, the confidence mechanics, leaning into being able to intimidate multiple times off of just one card. These are all instances of like very obvious power creep to me, even if the whole shell doesn't necessarily make it a meta deck right now. Like there's so many instances of just direct power creep in the set basically.
Is that a bad thing though? Is power creep an issue? Not always, I don't think.
I think Go ahead, Cody.
I don't think the vigorous mashups, like for example, way of power creeping is really that big of an issue. They did restrict it to brute, which makes a lot of sense. If it was one of those brute / guardian hybrids, it would probably be too strong because you could literally play the 6 power hammer style deck where all you're doing is blocking, making it like a vigor token, and then swinging a hammer for 6 off one card.
Yeah.
That people tried to do back in the day. So I think that was very smart. Currently, right now, you're essentially just blocking for 3, and then you have to hold a lot of the rest of your hand to leverage that dollar. In a lot of cases, sometimes you get like a couple extra, like an extra block with it, but you're really only getting most of the time one block to really leverage the value that you don't, and you don't always get the clash. So like those type of cards, I'm fine with. I do think they're a bigger improvement. I just don't like the cards like Test of Iron Grip. Like I agree with this. Like this wasn't this set, but that is like that to me is a level of power creep I don't like. One, the card is ridiculously powerful to just make you discard a card, on a block. But it's also like flipping a coin. Sometimes you discard the card when you play it, which is just kind of ridiculous. But it's so powerful, you'll run it even with that type of downside. I think that those sort of cards I dislike. I think Reckless Stampede is getting into a territory of being overly power crept, where this is essentially a finisher. For the people at home that don't know which one it is, this is whenever a card defends this clash with the defending hero, the winner deals 1 damage to the other hero. Each hero may put the revealed cards in the bottom of their deck, and it attacks for 7, costs 3, or costs 2, excuse me. Blocks for 0 as well. The card is insane, especially if you pump it at all. It's insane. If you're playing a deck that already takes advantage of it, you can side it in and out based on what matchup. It's not like you have to always have it in your deck. So you're like, oh no, I'm playing against a Guardian who can sometimes punish me for this. You're just like, I'll just take that out. Like, you know what I mean? And then I'll just put it in against Syndra, and they'll be like, you can never block this. And there's like a lot of like feel bad positions where you're like coming in for 9 or 11 or whatever with this attack. And they're like, I have to block, but now I'm just like infinitely going to be low.
You basically transform every blocking card from hand into a 2 block. Like that's imagine that was what the card said. Like every card your opponent blocks on, like blocks 1 less. I mean, that card would be banned, surely.
I also kind of like the space of defensive cards getting stronger that aren't necessarily like fatigue slanted defense cards. Like these are cards like the vigor token one specifically, and like some of the other ones are more like, hey, I'm playing a proactive game with these cards. I'm trying to get value on both sides of the turn cycle. I think you get into dangerous territory power creeping either straight up offense or straight up defense too much, because then either the game gets MST degenerate or it gets Oldhim degenerate, and I think either extreme is bad. This is saying, hey, play mid range. I think that's kind of a good spot to be.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of the most powerful interactions we've seen in Flesh and Blood so far have come from cards that don't have power, I think. Like a lot of the draw has been from instants and non-attacks, and just in general, like transcending, right, being cards that don't have power. I think the clash cards being tied to needing to reveal something with power also just like limits a lot of their ceiling, and that you really can't afford, because like when you play Reckless Stampede and you show Blood Rush on the top, you're finding the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah,
I'll leave that on top.
No, I agree. These are interesting ways to put power. I do think there is something that I've been noticing that's been happening is they've been making downsides of like this card doesn't block, or blocks for 0, or blocks very low. But I think we're now conditioned to just be okay with having non-blocks in our deck. There was like there was like a point like a year and a half ago where a non-block would be like, this is a major decision I have to make if I'm including this in my deck or not. And now you're just like, I only have 5 non-blocks. Who cares? I'll play all of them. Like, I'm used to playing decks with 20 non-blocks. Like, you're just like moving on with your life at this point. But so I do think they need to be a little careful about thinking that is such a downside when we've gotten to the point where we're just fine with putting them in no matter what.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll learn the lesson about that with Fable someday, thinking that non-block is a real downside. Like if Malefic Incantation didn't block, would that really change the card? Like when do you block with Malefic Incantation? Come on, let's be real. Like it just doesn't matter at all that it blocks 2 versus 0.
The price is more of a downside than the non-block.
Yeah. On the Fables, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You block access to food and shelter because you had to pay for the Fable.
I block with $300.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Okay, wait. I
go
have
ahead.
one more thing, unless you want to add something to continue on.
No, I do, but
Okay.
I'll go after.
Yeah, go after. This is still in the same vein of thought. So what up, dude? You got something to say?
Yeah, go after.
I'm gonna forget, like how you did earlier. Well, if you're going to a
Go
new
now.
topic, then surely I should just continue on this topic, no?
Yeah,
It's all
continue.
part of our
Agreed.
agenda. Didn't you read the notes
Agreed.
before we started recording? Okay. So what do you think that the fundamental of a card that cares about being revealed off the top for a clash is a playable card? Like they have the one in Lyeth that's if you were to lose, you win instead, you get booed. There's the unexpected backhand. Do you think this is like a playable card for just like the random chance of it happening? Or do you think that like you should look for cards that have actual text if they're in your hand to use?
If they're not at blue, I don't think they're playable. But
Mhm.
your blue base can just be whatever attacks a lot of these decks. And so you might as well just make them something that has upside. I mean, overturn the results is kind of like a mandatory card in the deck, but that's more because it sets up with fix the match and
Yeah.
is the strongest possible thing Lyeth could be doing. So that one's a little different for the people who aren't familiar with the set yet. Fix the match is when this attacks, search your deck for a card, then shuffle and put that card on top. Whenever a card defends this, clash with the defending hero, the winner creates a might token. And then overturn the results is a blue card with 5 power, but it says if you would fail to win a clash revealing this, instead you win the clash and the crowd boos you. So when you play this in Lyeth, you attack with fix the match, and you're usually attacking for like 13 with this thing, so they have to block. But every time they put a card in front of it, you make 2 might tokens because you make one off fix the match ability and one off overturn the results.
Provided you would lose the clash and you instead win with the fix the match.
Correct.
Yeah. Or not the fix the match, sorry, overturn the results, yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
But yeah.
Did you have more?
I was just going to say, besides that interaction, I think you can only play these at blue. I don't think the red ones or yellows are real. You know what I mean?
So I think, like, as a type of an effect in the game, I don't think this effect is particularly good. I think this effect is really only good if you design cards that let you manipulate the top of your deck that are good, that let you do this, or you staple this effect to a card that you just would have played in your deck anyways, like you said with the blues. I think a good example of this that comes to mind is Golden Sun. Like, you would just play Golden Sun in your deck anyways in Victor, even if it didn't have that text on it. It's just a good card as a finisher, like, is just kind of what you want to be doing in the deck. And it just randomly has upside sometimes when you reveal it, and you're already clashing a lot in that deck.
I would say this. Apparently, LSS believes that these cards are too powerful to like in the red. And what I mean by that is like Wallop costs 4 and it attacks for 7. And like if you reveal it off a clash, you make a vigor token. So like they obviously gave it an additional cost because this ability is too strong. Like if you could just run it as a 3 for 7 in your deck, it's like infinitely too powerful. So maybe we're wrong, or maybe they're wrong, but one of us is wrong.
I think that when you look at how they designed some of the cards in this set compared to how they designed some of the similar effects in heavy hitters, their first pass on these type of effects were more conservative. Like, we don't know if this is going to be too busted. Let's be careful with this. We don't want to make broken defensive decks. And then they kind of saw the impact of these cards and they went, well, I think we can tune these numbers up a bit. And then that kind of segues into that conversation that we had earlier about power creeping clash cards. We're like, okay, these cards did not make the impact that we thought they would. People just like aren't jamming like Clash of Might in every deck. Maybe we can add some more of these, some more power and juicies up a little bit, make it a bit more consistent. So, and now if they're too good, maybe they, either leave it at this power level or next time they lower the power level a bit.
But backhand is the only one that they added, right? Like unexpected backhand.
There's the Rapture one too, where if you win a clash,
yeah, that's for revered. Those are not for real heroes. but
Come on. They introduced a big design space for it. Is basically like there are many cards you can play now for.
You're really living up to the heel mentality, aren't you?
Yeah.
I was referring to like a Guardian version or like a Brute version of it. It's like the only one that they put out was Unexpected Backhand, which costs 3, right? So
yeah,
you're still, if you're trying to run that, you're still stuck in the I'm gonna run Wallop for a red 4 cost 7 like world. So I think until more of them come out, that style of deck isn't even, you can't even think about it. You can't fathom playing a deck that even piles all these in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also have to be careful with like some of those like Wallop specifically and things like that, where because they're generic Guardian, that is its own can of worms. Like the ones like this that I kind of mentioned this before with Test of Strength. This is kind of locked to Victor. He's allowed to have good cards. But when you make some of these effects more open to everyone, you got to dial that knob in a little bit. And also before they made the older ones dual class, right?
Yeah.
So these ones are single class, which narrows down that focus a little bit. So it's okay, this is a more narrow field of decks that can play this, so we can tune it up a little bit.
Yeah. They dual classed them, but some of them are fake, like Test of Agility, where they're like, what warrior is ever I'm waiting for the warrior who's gonna put that in their deck. Let's block for 4, your opponent's go again.
Olympia, right?
Yeah, to be fair, I've actually seen there's like a really popular RKO deck running around, the new KO that plays like literally every single 4 block that's legal in the hero, and they play Test of Agility knowing like they're going to lose it 50% of the time. I just remember seeing that on some social. It was like a very popular list on February. That
can you share with the class on why?
What's up?
Can you share with the class why?
Because the gimmick is like if you're you're smiling like you have an answer. Like you're gonna roast me after no matter what I say.
No, I can't figure it out. I'm sitting here thinking like,
I also can't fathom
why
you would play this deck.
Yeah. My understanding of the gimmick behind the deck, at least, is when you attack with your shrimps, like your small power stuff, and you have multiple cards back in your hand, you can always pump them up. And if you don't have a vigor token, you have to pitch 2 cards anyway. So like if you're bricked on a 4 block, you just like pitch those 2 into buffing it up. But what happens in like an actual game is you want to maintain a life total, because if you're not at higher health than your opponent in RKO, your deck is just completely useless. And so if you just spam every single 4 block into an expected meta of like old KO, where he's attacking you for like, 6 to 9 power attacks very frequently, and you can convert those cards to actually 4, then I think the downside is somewhat mitigated by the fact that you get to always have your hero power online because you're at more life, since your cards block really efficiently.
I feel like you're gonna then lose the clash.
Yeah,
and then now you fall further behind.
Counterpoint: giving your opponent go again or a might token makes it so you didn't block for 4. I just wanted to point that out as anyone listening at home who's like, that sounds like a good idea. No. If you give them go again and they resolve the go again, you didn't block for 4. If you give them a might token, you didn't block for 4.
Yes, but when you're my opponent, you reveal Show of Strength or Swing Big off your deck every time you block a point. And they're just the best cards ever printed.
Bro, then you throw 2 shrimps?
No, you shrimp into Swing Big, it's lit.
But the Swing Big is on top. So they have Swing Big, Swing Big?
Oh yeah, shit, you're right. Oh, whatever, man. I didn't think about it too deeply. I just remember seeing this list and like trying to possibly fathom why you would do it. The other thing too that's a little bit
also
more
if you're
obvious,
blocking this much, like how are you using the go again?
One second. There is a little bit of synergy because you also do get to play Steel Victory, the pseudo specialization, where like you can lose the clash and then just like take it back. And then you get to play Gang Tactics, I think is the name. It's a yellow attack for 1. If you have 3 auras, it gets +3. And on attack, you just steal an aura. So like if you do lose, there's some way of like Revile style, just taking it back. So there's a little bit of synergy at least there. And Overcrowded now blocks for more. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways,
it's cute. That's a good armory
Moving
deck.
on to the next.
Yeah.
Next topic.
I was just going to point out, I just want to do a recap on how we feel about Super Slam Heroes before we moved into podcast.
Well, we know how you feel about half of them, dude.
At least one of them. But we've got some time to play. We've seen them played. I just figured we talk a little bit about how the set is feeling in general. Moving on, I'll start with Lyeth. I put a decent amount of time into this hero. I just don't think it's there. That's my hot take right now. I know a lot of people have been playing it. I want the deck to be good. It's just, I just don't see it. There's just not enough math to make the deck work. Like, you just can look at it math wise, and it's just, it doesn't output enough numbers for the amount of cards that you have and the downside that you have of not being able to block properly, that it feels pretty difficult outside of like Natty drawing auras the right way where you get your big turn. But a lot of the times your opponents can then just like put cards in front of it and be like, can you do it again? And then you'll draw a hand that's like 3 attacks and you'll lose the game on the spot, because all of that value that you made up for by actually casting all your cards for like 3 or 4, now you're IPing 2 cards. So like you literally are negative value on the whole game now because you IP'd 2 cards. The deck just doesn't math. Like that's my issue with it currently. And I can't figure out a way to get over that. Maybe you know, it ends up happening for more time, but outside of pure cheese, it feels like you have to find a cheese in that deck for that to function. Like you're not building a deck that is like a real Flesh and Blood deck. You got to find some cheese turns in order to like win games.
Outside of cheese,
yeah.
you must become the cheese.
Yes.
You must have the cheese touch to succeed.
Goliath has to be a cheese deck. And I think that's the only way moving forward.
I have one thing I think. Okay, go ahead, Fino.
I was gonna say, or as a fatigue deck, if he like gets tools to do that.
Yeah,
like, 5-card defensive shenanigans does seem pretty good.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Like imagine he had CYB, like the deck could be like kind of
yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to try. I don't think it would be that good. But anyways, I think Fino, you'll agree with this take. I look at all the new heroes. I try to see which of these heroes can consistently modulate their numbers and throw multiple attacks per turn. And I see that the answer is 0. So therefore they auto lose to Gravy. Therefore they're dumpster tier.
You have to still pass the first check.
Yeah.
Beat Gravy.
Yeah, like
I mean apparently not anymore, but like
your deck has to have in-engine head jabs and the ability to attack tall when it wants to without needing to draw very specific cards, and the ability to throw disruption in one turn. And if your deck can't do that, then it's just unplayable. So
I mean, at least like in the case of Pallades, she can play Batter to a Pulp, but I don't know how good that actually is.
Batter
like,
to a
even
Pulp
if
doesn't
you throw...
kill the 2 or 3 allies that are already on the board.
And like the Gravies can go sicko mode and added a bunch of like anti-fatigue stuff where it just doesn't like if Gravy already beats Jarl with the uninteractable, or it beats Valda, same idea. Like here's a giant dominated Batter. Okay, I'll just block it with all my armor. Oh shit. Like I know you can't do that into this hero, but like there's probably a way that you can block out that. And if you can't, they printed the answer. Gallo exists. So that deck actually becomes part of the meta, and that is their answer to Gravy, then that is no longer their answer to Gravy.
Yeah, and you will mathematically find Gallo before they find their answer because of Call to the Grave. It's quite nice. And deck thinning and stuff, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I think Pallades is actually the only one that might break out of this bad set. Like, it's the only one that I see real tools in. It has, you know, the ability to be a combo deck. It has the ability to sidestep things with the confidence tokens and building up actual turns. It still gets to play like good Guardian stuff. It has a good weapon on the side as well. And then like it has, if the combo ever becomes viable where you get to just like take additional turns, it could be a real deck. Like feels like there could be something there.
Wait, you're actually thinking that card is castable? What's the name of the card? Standing Ovation? I have it on my desk. I should read it again. I read the card at whenever they announced it, and I was like, okay, this is a complete joke. And then someone like referenced it to me, like, oh yeah, this is like a card that you use to succeed. And I was like, surely this card is not in my deck outside of being a blue that blocks 3.
Cast for 6.
If
3 auras have been destroyed in this hits, take another turn. Your opponent draws back up to hand size.
But your opponent draws back up, so it basically
Correct.
just fatigues them 4 cards.
But you also draw back up. But your confidence
you want to combine it with like evasion of some sort, so you're leaking damage.
Okay.
That's the idea. I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying that's the idea.
You're paying 6 mana to attack for 8. It's bad.
What do you mean attack? You might be attacking for way more. All your things popped.
But then you paid like 49,000 mana to attack for it. Like all the things you
Correct.
played before were bad. Like you were
Correct.
taking negative turns and doing like playing your 2-card 5s. Like you went Zealous Belting Pass for 3 straight turns. That can't be good.
I'm aware. That is also where my brain is at when it comes to these things. But sometimes stacking up a bunch of damage and putting a confidence token in play and doing that twice a game wins the game.
I guess.
I just don't know how you live to get there. Those are the pieces that I haven't put together. But if I look at all the things that the deck can do and all the things it has access to, Pleiades has a decent amount of stuff, plays outside of how FAB is supposed to be played, has some powerful stuff, and seems decently modular, has a good weapon. It just feels like there might be something there.
Wait. I gotta be more disagreeing, Andy. Dude, it's not that good of a weapon. You have to have 3 auras of suspense just for it to be basically Anathos. When you could just have Anathos.
No, 3 for 4. 3/4/4 is good. What are you talking about? No text, 3 for 4 is good.
I know, I'm saying it's the same as Anathos, which is a card that already existed in Flesh and Blood. And y'all are like going nuts. It's literally Anathos, but with harder to make 6. Like you could just pitch 2 blues, play your aura, swing Anathos for 6. Or you could pitch 2 blues, play your aura, and swing Moment Maker for 4. So like it's not God's gift to mankind. I don't know.
I'm not glazing it that hard. I just said it's a good weapon, man.
Yeah.
It's not even good. It's like literally not even good.
I don't know. 3 for 4 is pretty good.
Also, like you can keep some of the blue auras around for a long time, so it's like kind of easy doing that. Maybe you have some tokens floating around.
You're like saying Wreck Havoc is good when we have CNC. Like, okay, sure, Wreck Havoc is fine, but like we have CNC. Why do we need Wreck Havoc?
Because one is tied to Bravo? I don't know. It's still a good weapon. It doesn't matter if there's another weapon that does the same thing that it does. It's still a good weapon.
You're like saying Bone Basher is the best thing ever, dude. When like we have Rocket Club. That's a better comparison. Like we have the same thing, but it's like better.
But they're still both good weapons.
Am I misremembering what this card does? If you fulfill the condition, it's 6, right?
Correct.
So
exactly. Same as Anathos, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
It's still good.
Sure. I just don't think it's a selling point of Pleiades is that like, oh, her weapon is crazy good. Like, sure, if Bravo rotates, if someone ever wins a tournament with Bravo again.
It was a footnote among the notation as of what makes her good. It was not a highlight.
My point was she's modular. Like she has a bunch of good options. She can play a 1-card 6 if that ends up being a relevant way to play the game. She could also just play Titan's Fist and a shield, and then like she can use the extra point off of doing the 2-cost or the 4-cost auras. Like so she has options. She has get another turn card that has never existed before. She can stack up damage and then has evasion on top of it. And then she can just block the same way all the Guardians block. So it feels like there might be a way that this deck is actually good. Okay. I don't see it right now, but it has way more potential than RKO. Like, what is that deck? I can't understand how this deck's ever good.
Yeah, I was not saying that he had any potential either.
Yeah, I said out of all the bad decks, I think this has the best opportunity to get out of this set as a good deck.
There's like individual cards that are good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fina.
No, there's individual cards that are good for her.
Yeah, I think there's actually maybe there's something there. Cards. Every card is completely unplayable, dog. But yeah. You have the one card that's a 3 for 7 that like recurs a thing back on hit, and that one's okay.
Dude, Noah sees one blonde chick. I hate her. I don't know what is going on.
Oh my god. Man.
Hates Dory, hates Pleiades. I see a pattern here.
It's from all the prisms that he played against at that last.
Oh, I can't say Prism. Yeah, maybe you're right, dude. Oh no, we're uncovering deep truths about me.
You're cooked.
Okay, yeah, I will say too, I was really surprised we didn't get like any expansion slot weapons for these heroes. I was really expecting to see like a tiny hammer for Lyeth, and then we just didn't get it. And when we started the conversation the other day about like, oh, what's the pod's going to be about? What I was talking about with Cody, I then pulled up the Living Legend thing on the side, and I looked on the thing and saw, oh, RKO's weapon is not like I wanted to see if he also had Mandible Claw as his rotating weapon, and it's not. It's question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And Lyeth just has nothing written there, so it's like, oh, maybe he's going to get an expansion slot weapon soon or something, but Lyeth isn't. Fuck him.
Yeah, dude, we need more weapons. Why are they so scared to give us weapons? Like everything.
Now, that being said,
Our whole spiel we just went on was how this card is basically just slightly different flavored Anathos. Like, why don't they just give us cool new weapons? How hard is it to make cool new weapons? Is it really hard? Maybe it's really hard.
that being said, they just updated the website for FAB, and I think they got rid of the question mark.
No. Wait, really?
Now it's mandible claw for both of them.
No. Wait, why? This ruins everything. Oh my goodness. We have
fucked.
mandible claw for eternity? Forever we will claw?
Wait,
Is
is
this
Life
true?
even on here?
Wait. If two people have mandible claw, one goes away. Does it mandible claw go away?
No, basically they just decided they didn't want to think with their brains and just wanted to make mandible claw for eternity.
Also, Liath just isn't on here unless I'm blind.
Okay. Well, you are blind. We know this.
Oh, maybe
That's also true.
Yeah, maybe they're not out yet because the set technically isn't out yet.
Okay. Yeah, if what I said is not true, then I didn't say any of it. Okay, please.
Yeah,
I posted in the room chat. Tell me I'm blind. I posted the link in the room chat.
Yeah.
Okay, one sec.
I already have it.
It should
pulled
be
up.
after It should be after Lexi, right?
Yeah, I mean they have KO Armed and Dangerous /
What the hell is
KO
this page,
and
dude?
then
I'm getting
KO
negative
Berserker
flashbang.
Runt.
What is happening?
They updated the website. The Flesh and Blood website it
Oh my
completely
goodness.
changed.
I'm sorry for people thinking I've entered the Shadow Realm, but it's dark. I try to be so good, dude. I make my Discord light mode. I follow all the rules. Flesh and Blood letting me down.
No, set's not out yet, so I guess these heroes aren't added yet.
Is this just not alphabetical? I'm so confused. Puffin is before Prism.
Yep.
I
Nope.
don't see
None.
Pleiades
Yeah,
either.
none of the new heroes are on here because they're not technically released yet. Okay, we can stop looking at this list.
Oh, it's
No.
KO Berserker Runt was the one I was looking at.
Oh my goodness, dude! You bamboozled me. Oh,
Back to
I
your
went on
actual-
tirade for no
Gravy-
reason.
Also, how is Compass's specialization weapon? It's not even a weapon.
It's
You
not
can't even
even
hit
a-
someone with
not
it.
even a weapon.
Anyways.
I do agree that it feels weird that we didn't get like really dedicated armor besides Pleiades, right? Or like dedicated equipment, or I mean dedicated like weapon for these new heroes. Like either they just wanted them to function off of what already existed, or they thought there was something already powerful enough about them. It feels, yes, some of those things feel weird to me. I don't 100% agree with.
Yeah, why is there no like reviled and revered legendary or majestic hat where it's like a picture of like like crowd cheering on someone and like you can like visualize it, you know, like the person like looking out at the crowd as like they're getting cheered or booed. Like that would be sick as a hat.
No, champion belt instead.
Or a belt, yeah, sure. That could be a chest piece.
Which-
Just like a belt.
Which should have also been the trophy at the calling, and that was a massive misplay. But
Maybe they had already engraved my name on it and I didn't win, so they just had to throw it away. So let's think that was the case.
Funny. Okay.
Wait,
Besides, I was going
why are
to
you going to say okay, man? Tough Nut is good. We haven't talked about Tough Nut. He's the playable hero.
I was getting to Tough Nut. That was
okay,
like, okay.
perfect. Go ahead.
That's why I said,
That's what
okay.
else,
So next, Tough Nut. And I was like,
yes.
this hero's bad. Anyway.
No! He tried so hard, man.
No,
we already know Cody's opinion. He said the revered heroes are bad.
Yeah,
The-
Tough
the-
Nut
Yeah, but then he
has-
gassed up Pleiades. I thought there was hope.
No, I don't have any hope for Tough Nut. Like, in certain matchups, it's like a real deck, and then in other matchups, it's like the fakest deck you've ever seen. It's just, it seems bad to me. I don't see the world. You love Tough Nut. You said that it's super playable and super good outside of Rock, and so what happened to you loving Tough Nut?
No. I love it. So I thought it was super playable outside of Rock before I knew the whole set, and then once we got the whole set, I realized, oh, you can just play it with Rock because like we have infinite ways to use your hand now. Like we have all the Buck Wilds. You can play the Agile Windups. You can play some of the cards that, if you've been cheered, you get go again. There's a bunch of cards that you can just like discard to. I mean, it's bad to just discard a card for no value, but like you can do it. You can just discard a card for no value. We have some of those sick non-attacks that you can like make toughnesses or buff your attack, like Song and stuff. So I think, the Rock playstyle is amazing. It just doesn't pass the gravy check of having modality and having head jabs. So like,
Does it even beat the Florian check?
I think it can beat the Florian check. Yeah.
Really? That's surprising.
Well, your weapon swings for 7, and theirs
Yeah.
is not for 7.
It
And
is
your
a
deck is all resource cards.
yeah. That's why I said
How do
it's
you
a
ever beat
real deck
Germinate?
into certain decks. It's like Tough Nut's actually like pretty good into certain decks, and other decks it's a joke.
How do you beat Germinate?
But you could put the Germinate like on a clock. Like you can swing 13 value turn cycles every turn. And they can't heal 1 trillion life because the Germinate is gated by the Reaping Blade if they're just like blocking you out every turn. Maybe you could like do pummels and stuff. I don't know, man. I haven't put enough time into it because it doesn't beat Gravy, so like it's pretty useless, but I think it can be fine. It just depends how the Florian is playing. I'm sorry, I don't have all the answers.
Womp womp.
Whatever. But basically, Rock is lit, and you don't have to play a deck that's all blues because that's like what people were doing day one, and that's just not how you have to
Are
play
you
the
really
deck
telling me Rock is lit after we spent the entire weekend poo-pooing Jimmy for saying Rock is lit?
Yeah, I do that all the time. Don't you know me, man? I'll say something is the worst. Like next weekend, I'll get on and talk about how Pleiades is the best deck. Like my opinion changes when I learn new information. I was lacking the information. Now I have the information. I can make a more informed decision.
Perfect. Cool.
It's good. You got to evolve, man. You can't stay like in your roots and think something is one way when
I just don't feel like the information has changed. I still think it's bad. It's like, okay, yeah, it's got the new cards anyways. I just don't understand how this beats off turn on turn. I'm still stuck on that. Like, how does this beat decks that just like, oh, you're playing Rock? I'm just gonna block and put a card in my arsenal. Okay, I'm gonna play a 5-card hand. Okay, now I'm gonna block. Like, I don't understand how you beat that.
okay. Well, maybe in 2 months they ban Gravy cards again, and then you can play Tough Nut, and I'll make a Tough Nut Metafy guide and show you the way of you beat on turn off turn. Zero
It's not
promises.
even a Gravy thing. Like, it's just like how to, like you play Slippy or something, and you're like, I'm just gonna block 3 cards, put a card in arsenal, and just like play 5-card next turn.
But they just like get fatigued if you do that. Like Rock takes 2 to 3 cards out of their deck. Like the Rock swinging for 7 is like pretty relevant.
Okay.
Yeah, you rock. See, Flesh and oh wow, this is great. Flesh and Blood is a game where the rock can beat the paper. We've transcended the natural order of things. The rock smushes the stack of paper.
All right, so who's scissors?
I don't know, man. I haven't got there yet.
Starfall looks like half a scissor. It's like looks like a scissor
true.
blade.
Yeah,
No one plays that.
kill style.
Okay. Gonna move on to some podcast questions. These are asked by premium members of our Metafy. If you'd like to be able to ask questions on the podcast or find anyone to practice with, or get 3 deck lists that are coming out literally this week with sideboards now that we have the full set, which is pretty cool. Also, I just put up, by the way, on to our Metafy my first chain RuneGate masterclass episode where I sat down and did a coaching session for about a little over an hour. I recorded it, put it up there. I think there's a lot of value in there. I'm going to be doing that every week. So if you'd like access to that, or you'd like to join the Discord, feel free to join in the link below. So first question here from Wardo77 is the power level in SUP meta warping in any way? It seems that instead of evolving the meta, the set is designed to shake things up in some big ways. Also, P.S. How is Lucas? I don't know. He's busy.
He's busy. Luckily, he's busy improving at Flesh and Blood, hopefully. Not busy learning how to do even worse at tournaments.
Yeah.
This is our hope, at least. But I think we kind of talked about this episode. This is a good question in regards to the topic of like power level, where we talked about ways in which Super Slam just directly power creeps old cards. But at the same time, the actual power level is not breaking what we have now. KO gets stronger, but yeah, it's not really an entire meta shakeup. It's just a lot of decks are viable. KO is now one of those decks that's viable.
The cards in the set, there's good cards. The heroes suck. Them not having weapons suck. They didn't like get on board things that are good to go with them, really.
Yeah, I think we also expected. We kind of expected the expansion slot to do more because they like buried the lead on the expansion slot. They just like, here's the Kasai expansion. You're like, this set's gonna be sick, and then they're like, that's the best one in the set. You're like, why did you show us that first? I don't understand. Like, our expectation was like everything is that level, and then
Dude,
you get like
the draconic one. Come on, what are we doing? Why does that card cost 1? Even if that card costs 0, like you're gonna pay 1
I don't know,
mana for a no block that says they can't gain life. Come on, dude.
parched the
when
terrain.
these,
Yeah.
I actually thought the set was going to suck when we started seeing the other expansion slot stuff. I was like, man, we're getting these juiced up reprints, all these really good expansion slots for older heroes. This set has to suck. There's no way they juice up the expansion slot this hard if the set's like going to sell on its own. Like that felt like we needed something to sell the set to me.
Sure, but then the rest of it didn't follow through. You got like Snag in there. I don't know anyone who's like, let me make sure we get that Snag reprint going on. Like,
Isn't Snag
Okay.
like $20?
Yeah, it's very valuable, Cody. See, now you can hand your opponent the card and they can read it and actually understand what it does. This used
I
to be
actually really
impossible
want
before.
the new one.
Yeah. The card does what it says now. It's lit.
I don't know. Some of these
Yeah,
are
Snag right now is like $22-25, and that's with us knowing that the reprint exists.
I feel like
So
I feel
like,
like Snag
I think that's a good
has been-
reprint.
Okay. I feel like Snag's just been $20 for like 4 years at this point. So it was like $20 when I bought it. It was like $20 the last time I checked. It's $20 now. It's just been a $20 card indefinitely. There was like a small tick up when Chain was like going crazy that Snag went up, but
Mhm.
Warmongers make sense to me.
At one point also.
Yeah. Flick
But
knives
yeah.
make sense. All these things make sense, but the other power levels are just like whatever.
It was in the 40 range before the ban.
Was it? Okay. Fair play then.
I think that's a good reprint.
Sure. I don't disagree now.
Yeah.
I've
So
changed my
basically-
opinion because I've gathered new information as Noah would
Oh, dude, look at this. Oh.
I just remember opening it at the world premiere going, why is there a Snag in here? My first reaction was like, I don't want this stupid Snag. Okay. Joe asks, Cody, how does it feel being put into FAB? Did they clear it with you beforehand or was it a surprise? I think they talk about Goliath. Well, I'm a little disappointed in myself, but that's par for the course, right? Makes sense. Goliath doesn't win very much and has to cheese in order to get a win, so it might actually be accurate. It almost wins.
Yeah.
He almost wins games, and then he gets to the end of the game and he can't play the game anymore and then loses.
Yeah.
So
You take so
You
many
know
game
what?
actions, man. Surely it's bad, right?
you know what? Lore accurate, I will say. It's funny. We were doing some things with like Fab boards and Metafy. And Fab boards is the one that has like the ranking list of everyone's cash placement. And I was like, we're going through and I was like looking at, where everyone's placed. I'm like 42nd of all time and I've never won a tournament. And I was like, hey, that's pretty good. I'm like looking at all these people who've like won tournaments. I'm like, hey, I cash more than them. I'm like, man, imagine if I had just won any of these tournaments. It'd have been so great. So
Yeah. Not that I'm keeping track, but you're currently 2 spaces ahead of me. So
I know. I'm
keep-
aware. I'm well aware of where I'm at. I just look at that and I go, man, I'll be at like top 10 if I win one tournament.
Yeah. Also, that guy Loki roasted. He put out like an advertisement on Blue Sky of like, hey, look at this. Here's an example of what you could see, and it's Alan Lau's page, and his number one person he bullies is me. I'm just in the advertisement as number one target for bullying.
That's funny.
It's
Millen asks, what do you think is a good hero to pick if you're expecting high representation of KO during PQ season? I would say Gravy, but no one's going to believe that answer. So
I don't think you can pick up Gravy and do well on the
Gravy.
I don't think someone playing Gravy for like 2-3 weeks is gonna do well into KO. You'll just
Yeah,
probably get
that's
mushed.
fair.
But I think decks like in the past, Kasai was traditionally pretty good. Just like in general, two-handed warriors. Sorry, dual wield. I'll get there eventually.
Wait, they're the
Warriors.
scissor hero.
Yeah,
Oh, they
true.
have double axes. I
Yeah, they
see.
beat the brutes with the rock. Oh, it's the wave, dude. You see the vision.
You figured it out. So
Um,
Dio is very good into KO as well. Because KO can't really block, so you're just like straight racing. Apparently Florian is good into KO. I don't know if that's accurate though. I think it should be.
Yeah, Florian should be good into KO, I think. In general, like Earth Heroes, the way that they play is like good into KO, where they can just like block for 13 to 14 per hand, and then send back like plows, fellings, big arcane, like the big
Well, it
arcane
goes
being
back to
like
what you were.
good.
Goes back to what you're saying earlier, right? Like he's the king of the mid range.
Yeah.
Like KO is kind of just a mid range deck. It's
Mhm.
like more slanting aggro than most mid range decks are, but you still lose to the king then.
Yep. Kasai is
Yep.
also is a good choice as well. You're
Yeah, you basically just negate their might generation with your dynamos, and KO can't block Centauri Sabers because their deck's all attacks, and you have also just a fridge in general. You can like sometimes catch them sleeping too if you play the hat that says they can't swing their weapon after. Like you really change up their lines there, and then you also have or balance of justice. I mean, there's plenty of viable hats, and you also have just as a warrior the kind of like modality of your hands where no matter what you can at least convert your hand to a decent value. Whether that's a 2 card hand, 3 card hand, 4 card hand, at least with most of the modern builds of Kasai. So you're pretty flexible as to what the KO is presenting with how much you can block.
Scary Super Cringe asks, is OG KO actually that good? In my testing, KO has been performing decent, but not to the power level people expect it to, like Hill LL and PQ season. Rather up to par with the rest of the top meta. I changed my Florian list a bit towards being a little more aggressive and haven't lost a game in that much sense. Felt appropriate to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's just kind of the same power level good. Like, it's like how we started the thing off. It's like we're just, yep. I think it's good. It's brute.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they play their bear things, you play your felling. Obviously, it's going to seem better.
Yeah. But no, KO's good. Has a good fridge. The helmet is insane, and sometimes it just pops off on you.
And KO can never really be like tier 0 broken. Like there's so many times throughout the course of the game where you just have situations that you lose value and or gain value, but none of it is up to your control. In which case, like a deck like Florian doesn't really have that element to it, where you can more cleanly navigate how you intend on playing out your turn. You don't really, you don't have that like random. Oh, I just lost, 6 value here because of a draw discard, or even 3 value, right? And these kind of mid range matchups, if you're bleeding 3 to 6 value, you're just like losing the game.
I just had a random thought. I wouldn't be surprised if the hat is actually worse than when KO was meta back in heavy hitters, just because we've had like what 2 years of people playing against either that hat or face purg and just like getting better at playing around it, where it's just not as good as it used to be. You like don't cheese people as often with it. Maybe that's not the case. I don't know. I can't really say as someone that I don't play either of those heroes, so I don't have a feel for that. But I won't be surprised if that's the case.
No, I've definitely got the feeling that Flesh Bag is at like an all time low of its power level. Go
Still
ahead, Cody.
good, but
That's so good for sure.
it's easier to play around. Some of the decks don't care as much, but it really just shines in the aggro matches. Like where it's good is like you're playing into Syndra and they're like boop boop. You're like, no, you're not attacking me anymore this turn. Like we're done with that. We're done with that part of the turn, and then you back to me. That's really where its power's at, is all the aggro decks. The mid range deck, it's like way less powerful into.
Yeah. I mean, I found that the strength with the Flesh Bag is like when you resolve it, you can then line up one of your Arsenal disruption effects. Then that's kind of how you like start the chain going of the disruption along with big damage. So that's where it's most effective. But if the deck is just blocking 2 cards, sending 2 cards back at you, then the fleshback is just a bloody piece of paper.
Tattle Down asks, with Mandible Claws most likely and not being legal anymore after PQ season, what support would Levia need in order to make Hexagore playable? Follow up, if you could design a new two-handed weapon for, what could it do? I love the duality of man, which is the first question. The question before this, I don't think KO is very good. Why do I think people are going to think it's LL? And then the question after that, surely KO is going to LL. So what are we going to do? The duality of man in our two questions. I don't know. Levia, man. I'm so sick of hearing about Levia. I've heard of Levia for years at this point, of how good this deck is. And it's just never been its time.
I think just some way of making Hexagore playable is extreme copium. That's basically all you can hope for. There's no like way you can, like, if you give cards that support the Hexagore playstyle, it just becomes like egregious. Like, you can't have a 2-for-6 weapon that is like part of a playable shell where you have like 1-for-5 go again into 2-for-6 weapon every turn. Like, we just can't have that as a mechanic. So, and the fact that Levia also has access to recursion, playing back the blood debt. So if they do print some card that just like turbo banishes off the top of your deck to try to like hopefully hit blood debt cards to fuel your banish zone, then like if they make a card that just like create 5 soul shackles for Levia or something, then imagine they made this like, create 5 soul shackles. When you swing your weapon, they die or something. It's just like you basically play a card that like can banish 5 cards off the top of your deck. But if they do something like that, then it still has the same Levia problems of you needing to figure out ways of not self-immolating. And then also if they make it too good, then it's just way too busted.
Yeah, to make that good, you just need more go again, right? Agility, things that fit that cost curve.
Yeah, well, to make Hexagore good, you need go again, but you also need ways of like fueling your banish zone, so you're not like paying 3-4 life every time you swing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want Hexagore to be good. I think that's the appendix of the whole. Yeah. You think you might want it to be good. You don't want it to be good.
Yeah. I think honestly, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I get to go first. Okay. I think honestly, that's how I feel. What you just said, Cody, about the whole Brute class. Like, dude, I don't want Brute to be good. When Brute is good, the game sucks. Like, when KO is the best deck, he's just doing giant ass number, and it's not like you have some amount of disruption that can help you, but you have to have the disruption, and sometimes it just doesn't matter if they decide that this is the turn they fridge, kind of like Zen style. If they have the free like 6 block, I'm just going to do 1 trillion damage. When it's your turn to defend, there's not real defensive utility that exists to stop because it just, the number is very tall. And I think all the other brutes just have some sort of other cringe mechanic to them as well, where like Levia, some percentage of the time you like hit on Shadow Realm Whore into a second Shadow Realm Whore, and it's just like, okay, like this is just silly. Or Reinhardt just intimidates your whole hand and you die. What's up?
And then you Hexagore.
Yeah, then you Hexagore. Yeah, dude, that's the curve.
We figured it out.
Yeah, it's clean. But yeah, anyways, like basically every brute is just Omega cringe at the highest level if they're like very strong. That's how I think, at least. So I'm glad that brute has always been kind of a fringe class for people who to play that just enjoy it, and I hope they don't never become like top tier meta.
Yeah,
I think that actually segues into my point. Nice. I'm actually pretty happy to see Claws go.
Yeah,
I believe I talked about this on a previous podcast where I was like, I really want to see both Scabs and Blood Rush go at some point, because they really limit the design space of the class. It's hard to make interesting brute cards so long as those two things exist. Getting rid of Claws kind of does the same thing as getting rid of Blood Rush. You can now start printing more interesting brute cards now that that's gone. Still want to see Scabs go, but well, we can't have nice things here. So
you're just gonna get like Fanged Claws. It'll be the exact same card.
Yeah.
That'll be the replacement. Those literally reprint Mandible Claws with a different name.
Maybe they discard a card when you attack with them, and if the card you discarded is a 6, it gets go again.
Well,
That's
that would be so
infinitely
much worse.
worse.
But yeah.
They have go again.
Sorry.
If you have...
I'm sorry that claws were really good. What do you
Yeah.
want me to say?
I just
Steering
want to
him right
second.
is true.
I just want to second your point about Reinar. If Reinar is ever one of the best decks in the game is terrible. Like,
Yeah.
even if he's like A tier, the game is pretty bad.
I just feel that way about like all the brutes. Like all the brutes just have some way of playing very non-interactively. So it would just be so bad for them to be like the best. And then like part of the best interaction into brute is just exploit the fact that they don't have as consistent go again as other classes. And then like Fino said, they can just let me get out my cup of dice and I have all the action points I could ever want. Maybe brute is allowed to be good if they ban scabs.
Sure, I'm okay with that. I think that would be better for the game. Like, get rid of scabs, get rid of blood rush, but then juice up the class and make it more interesting.
I don't even think you need to get rid of blood rush, because the thing about blood rush is it confines you to one line of play. Like KO just abuses blood rush because you can do it on every single hand. The other brutes like don't have the access to sixes like KO does, so you actually have to like take thought and like set up your blood rush in your arsenal, wait for the hand to go off on it with. I think
Sure.
KO just makes it ignorant, where like no matter what hand he
Get rid of blood rush or claws.
Yeah.
Like one of them have to go.
Sure. Agree.
But then juice up the class. Like
Yeah.
I don't like seeing the class go like these long periods of not being good for the people that enjoy that class. That sucks for them. Like I want people to be able to play whatever they want to play. But then, like you said, when Brute's good, it's like pretty cringe that it's good.
Yeah.
That's not really good for the game.
Agree.
Just get rid of the things that make it cringe. It's the Kano problem. Like Kano being good is typically pretty bad for the game. Get rid of Kano. Get rid of that and replace it with a wizard that interacts with the game in a healthier way. Like, I cannot wait for us to get Blaze instead. That'll be so much better for the game.
Indeed.
Agreed. King of Mice asks, do you think this PQ season is Kano's time to go? Or do you think he'll squeak by into the world's meta? You know what's funny? I didn't time any of these segues, and they all worked out perfectly. What a podcast to waste this power on, you know?
And I'm not reading the questions either because my Discord, for whatever reason, won't launch for me to read it.
Yeah.
I usually have it up on the second monitor, and it's like, okay, I guess Discord isn't working. I have to reboot after this.
Yeah, all that feels planned. None of that was planned. It was just like, okay, now I'll ask the next question, and it fits perfectly with what was just said. Oh, okay.
Dude, why are you telling people this? We got to edit this out, man. We plan everything that ever happens on this podcast. All of our bits are scripted. We have a giant list of an agenda. It's all structured, man. Come on. Cody doesn't message me 20 minutes before saying what our topic is.
I would never.
Yeah,
it's time to go. Everyone's going to agree to just play Kano week 1. It's going to win every Proquest
every person is going to play Kano. The whole Proquest will be Kano.
We'll enter utopian society. People in America will finally get health insurance.
Wait, how many points does Kano get because someone went to click KO and they clicked Kano by accident?
Oh.
Enough for it to LL?
I'm not saying you guys should do that, but I'm saying you guys should do that.
I don't condone this activity. Come on.
I just wonder.
What happens if I kick Kano instead of Gravy? That's close enough, right? GK.
Surely they do. Surely they have a check that makes sure that that's not what they're using to determine LL points. Surely that's the case. No, you have to enter the actual person running the tournament has to enter what hero one. So they accidentally clicked Kano instead of KO.
Also, can we talk about this person's name is King of Mice and they talked about squeaking in? You think they did that on purpose? If they did, good on you.
Probably. Cool. Well, I think that wraps everything up. Make sure to check out my Chain article if you would like to actually learn how to play Chain for Worlds or for the Calling. Besides that, we'll see you next week.